Okay, we get it. You're cute. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, What the Beck. Today I'm doing something really weird. So, basically, I tried to get my mom to use a bullet journal for about half of the entire year last year, and it didn't really go well. She got the first cover page of 2018 on her journal, and then she just didn't touch it for the rest of the year. But this year she's trying again, and in order to help her and you, I decided I would make a bullet journal choose your own adventure. And I kind of got this idea from Jazza, from Draw with Jazza. He recently did a choose your own adventure for like character creation, but I'm doing one for a bullet journal. So I will put on screen right now all of the areas that I'm going to cover in this video, and if you have any extra ones you want me to cover, you can just comment that in the comments below, and when I make a part 2, if there's enough like suggestions, I'll make a part 2 and I'll link that in the description. But for now, what you're going to need for your materials are just any notebook and a ballpoint pen. Everyone seems to think that you need to have fancy brush pens and things like that, but it's really not true. You can use any supplies that you have, and so for example, I'm using this tiny little notebook just because I don't want to use like my giant notebook that I actually use to make spreads that I'm not going to use, because some of these categories that I am going to go over don't apply to me, so I'm just doing them in mini form so that you can expand them into your regular size journal. So let's get started. So for part 1, we're doing habit trackers, and 1A is this big chart. So basically you just put all of the things you want to track into your habit tracker, and you make a big chart with all of the dates along the top and then all of your habits down the side. And on a regular notebook that would be used for bullet journaling, this would be on a graph paper, but the mini notebook is only lined, so I'm adding my own lines. But you probably wouldn't have to do that if you're using a graph paper notebook. But these tasks can vary anywhere from something you want to be doing to something that you need to be doing, and I talked about this a little bit more in my Why Would You Track That video, which I'll link up above. But basically just put what you need to do in your habit tracker, and having it all in one place really might help you see the things that you're doing well and what you're not. The second option for habit tracking, so 1B, is basically just putting it on a mini calendar. So you would draw the boxes for the month and then tick off when you do that habit. So you would draw one little calendar for every habit that you want to be doing, and this is a lot easier if you only have a few habits you want to do, like if you're trying to improve things. But I suggest that if you have a lot of things you want to track, you should just use the big version from 1A. If you want to use your bullet journal as a task manager, so you just check off the things you have to do each day, the first option for that is a daily tracker. So basically you set up your week. This is often called a weekly on Instagram and Pinterest and stuff like that. But basically each day has its own space, and you can write the tasks you have to do for each day on that day, and that way you don't see a huge list of things all at once, but you can still see what you need to get done on one day. The next way to do a task list is basically what I call a master task list, and that's when you write everything that you have to do, not necessarily in a week or in a certain span of time, but things that you know you have to do. You just write them all down and you check them off as you go. This is helpful if you don't have any set deadlines, like if you're doing chores or certain like personal projects that don't have a deadline. You can put them in this, and that way they're not assigned to a day, so you don't feel pressured to get them done in a certain day. Up next we have the pet care book. I made my own bullet journal specifically for this, but I can see why other people would want to just have a page in their journal for it. So basically what I did is I have a monthly page for the specific care that I have to do for my pet, which is a cat. So I have like to roll the litter box, give them food, give them treats, and do a health check. But I also have a journaling section and an informational section. So I put the information stuff at the front so that the monthlies could build up at the back, and I'd still have room at the front to put my information if I want to add more. It's basically various things to do with cats. So symptoms of illnesses, how to clean up messes, and things like that. So this depends on what kind of pet you have, but do your research and make your pages based off of that. If you would like to journal in your journal, then you can assign a certain number of lines or a certain space to each day, and that way you have a spread laid out just for journaling, and you can keep it separate from your tasks or other pages. If you still want to journal but you don't want to be confined to a certain space, you can set up the whole page or spread as your journaling section and just use whatever amount of space that you need for each journaling session. So, for example, one day you might only write one sentence and another day you might write 3 paragraphs because you had a weird day. This allows you to have space for whatever you want to write, or even if you don't want to write. There are various reasons that you might want to track your food intake. I'm not going to get into that, but I have a few ways that you can track it. The first way is to basically make a calendar with the number of the day on the side, and then you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack along the top. And then you can have a color code to write down which foods you ate and their healthiness level. So if you're trying to eat protein, then if you eat eggs for breakfast, that would be healthy. And maybe if you ate a donut for breakfast, that would be unhealthy. So by making a color code, you can see how often you're actually eating towards your goal and how often you are eating things that aren't so great. If for some reason you don't want to see exactly what you ate and you just want to see if it was healthy or not, you can also just use the color code and fill in a chart similar to the habit tracker, and that will also help you see how you're reaching your goal. Sometimes people's goals are different, and some people might want to just have a checklist for their meals to make sure that they're getting 3 a day or 5 a day or whatever they're supposed to be eating according to their doctor. So I made a chart for that as well. It's really simple. You just put the dates along the side, and along the top you put breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, or whatever number of meals you have to have, and then you just check it off as you go. If you want to see how well you're sleeping, then you can do this sleep tracker. So basically for this one, it's an hour-to-hour tracker. So you write out the range of hours which you would like to sleep or that you usually sleep. Some people need a bigger range than others. And when you go to sleep, you start the section around the hour that you started going to sleep. And then when you wake up, you circle the other side and then connect them. So this can help you see when you're usually asleep and see if your sleep schedule is regular or not. And that can be something you can strive towards, a more regular sleep schedule, by looking at this. If you want to track the number of hours that you slept rather than from which hour to the other hour, you can basically just make this simple chart. On the side is the date, and then you would write the week along the top, or more if you have more space. This journal is very tiny. And then you can manually just count the number of hours you slept from your bedtime to the time you woke up, or if you have a Fitbit, it will tell you for you, and then you can just transfer that chart onto this one. If you only want to track your bedtime because you wake up at different hours, like if you're a college student, but you want to get to bed by the same time each night, you can just make a chart similar to the last one with the time along the side and the days of the week along the top. And that way you can make a graph like the last one, but it's for your bedtime to see if it's changing around or staying the same. A lot of people on Instagram and Pinterest and all those places love to do mood trackers. So I decided to put in a really simple one for the first mood tracker. It only allows for one mood, which some people don't like, but the next one is for you. This one is only for one mood. Basically, you make a key with however many moods you want to track, and then you make a circle and divide it into the number of slices that the month has days, and then you color in your mood at the end of the day and basically just see how you felt that whole month. There are a lot of different kinds of mood trackers that are really illustrative and pretty, but if you just want something simple to start out with, I think the circle is a really great way to do that. If one mood just won't work for you, then you can decide how many moods you want to split your day into and just basically do a daily little chart. So what I did on this page was write the date. So for example, the first one is the 1st, and then I just circled 3 boxes, and then you would color in your mood for the morning, the afternoon, and the night, which spells man, which is pretty funny to me, but you can just choose when you want to mark your mood. So maybe when you wake up, when you go to sleep, and then some other time, or if you only want to track 2 moods, then you can choose when those are. And this basically has the same function as before, but it can also help you see if you're having mood swings or any kind of disorder, if that's acting up in your life. Some people like to do a gratitude log in their journal, and a common form of this is called line a day, where you basically just write the dates down the side of your page, and then you write a line of what you're grateful for every day. I did this in the summer, and it turned out really nice. It helped me see the positive things in my life, and if you want to do that, then this is a really simple setup to start doing that. Alternatively, if you want to do a gratitude journal but you don't want to write a whole line every day, you can do a word or a phrase. So for example, my mom gave me a heated blanket, so on the 2nd I wrote my mom because I'm thankful she gave it to me, and on the 3rd I wrote heated blankets because it is a very good addition to my life. This is a more simple way of seeing what you're grateful for, and it's also a really great way to practice different styles of lettering. And if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum and you want to write a ton about what you're grateful for, then you can just do a journaling spread like I did for 4B in this video, and you can skip to then to see how that was set up. If you need a handle on your money in your life, then you might want to make a budgeting spread. And the 2 ways that I decided to do this were a simple in and out chart for the first one and monthly totals for the second. Both of these were inspired by Shay Budgets, who will be linked in the description, but basically for the first one, you just make a chart and you write whenever you get money and whenever you spend money, and you might want to set up a few pages for this if you're planning to use it for the whole year, but basically it'll just act as a checkbook, but if it's in your bullet journal, you can see it every day when you flip through. For the monthly totals, this is basically a yearly spread, so you would either want this at the front of your journal or at the back. So you can basically just do the other trackers or use an app or something to keep track of your finances. And then if you have started a business or you are trying to get a spending habit under control, this spread can help you see how much you made each year and how much you can put into savings, because basically at the end of every month you go in and write your total of what you made, and then by the end of the year you can look back and say, oh well, I made this much money this year. P.S. I know that these numbers are not realistic for a lot of people. I was just writing in a placeholder, so yeah. Now, if you are a student or if you have an irregular work schedule, then this page might really help you out. Basically, what we're going to do is draw out a chart of the week, and you put the days of the week on the top and then the times down the side. And you basically just do like a block schedule. So if you know you work from 2 to 5, then you would color in that with the color that you assign for work. And for example, I have work and school, so I have a color for school, a color for work, and a color for homework, and that way I can assign when I want to work on certain things around my schedule. If you only work a few hours a day, or your schedule is really irregular, maybe because you're on the night shift or something that just switches around a whole lot, then this layout might work better for you. It's basically just listing all the days and then what hours you work. So for example, if you work on Monday from 2 to 5, but on Tuesday from 1 to 3, those are obviously different, so having it marked in your bullet journal can really help you figure out your schedule. Also, since this one takes up a bit less space than the other one, I think it would be helpful if you need to write any specific things for your work. You can write them at the bottom of this page. So for example, any specific dress codes or things like that you need to remember before you go to work. Now, I know for me, my bullet journal has been immensely helpful with dealing with my mental health issues, and I decided to put some spreads into this video to help other people who have mental health issues. So basically, the first one is just a symptoms tracker, and this one is basically like a habit tracker, except it's not things you're trying to do, it's just marking the things that did happen. For example, if you become manic or anxious during the day, you would mark it off down here and see if you're having a spike because you've had anxiety for the past 7 days or anything abnormal going on, or if you have a lot of mood swings or things like that. You can also mark that on this chart, and that can help you see kind of what state you're in. Next up, we have a graph, and this is basically rating your day mental health wise from 1 to 10. And I really think that this has helped me because I've been doing it ever since I started my bullet journal, and it does help me to see what's going on during the day and how it affects me. So basically what you do is you write up the side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We all know how to count, we passed kindergarten. But then you would put your dates on the other axis and just rate it every single day. And basically you would connect it with lines to see how your mental health has been doing over time. This is a time graph. We also all passed geometry. Is that where you do graphs? I'm not sure. But basically it helps you to see if you're getting worse or getting better or flatlining, anything like that, which is also helpful to knowing how well you're doing. Additionally, having a journal can be very helpful for your mental health. So if you want to make a mental health specific journal section like we did in 4B, that could also help you see how your mind is impacting your daily life. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it helped you figure out what you want to do with your bullet journal, especially you, Mom. But if you liked the video, you can leave a like and comment on this video. I love talking to you, and I heart all of the comments that I get. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, you can subscribe to my channel right here. Bye!